And so there he was, looking mighty fine in his lavishly armored getup, with a souped-up minigun in one hand and a mostly decorative staff in the other, looking totally the part as he stood his ground to the evil at hand. The mountainous landscape of Corksark was painted a drop-dead gorgeous reddish-orange, or orangish red, if you will, by the slowly setting sun, a visual feast long cherished by Corksarkers. Oh yes, Reginald could get used to this, taking on the bigger, perhaps even arguably big tasks within the remit of being a superhero. Make no mistake, he wasn't just looking damn fine, but was actually doing a decent job, too. There was no denying that at this very moment, Voltergeist was beaten, his sense of feistiness all but vanquished as he crouched down and retreated into his off-white, dinner-stained cape in defeat. For his electro-attacks amounted depressingly to jack-shit upon being neutralized by the mightier plasma output of Reginald's soupy-uppy minigun. Voltergeist was now forced to admit to himself where he probably went wrong in the first place, having conducted a formal survey a little over a week ago amongst the 100 or so denizens of the one piece of land on the planet, inquiring as to what kind of crime would, hypothetically, be the most functionally devastating and thereby worthwhile for an aspiring, electrically inclined villain to commit. But the real mistake was his subsequent survey, inquiring as to what day of the week would arguably be the most inconvenient to have such a villain, hypothetically, administer a deadly attack upon the island's surrounding marine life. If it wasn't for Reginald's academic major in sniffing out shifty-sounding surveys, he might never have put two and two together and had the perfect inadvertent tip-off. Fortuitousness met with niche brilliance. The man of the hour looked quite literally down upon the failed villain. Any last words before I nuke you like a slab of beef cooked crudely in a microwave on full power? You got a moment or two till my special attack's done charging. Voltergeist looked with a pained grimace at Reginald's oversized crotch-plate amulet thing that was beginning to kick up some sparks. Now hold on just a moment. Every legitimate hero needs to have at least one key virtue to characterize their humanity. I've personally always admired Batman's resolve to only apprehend, never to kill. What do you think? Reginald assumed a pose that was by no means charismatic or compelling, but every bit bold and manly. My name is Reginald Maxgroin Turbo-Nutstorm. Compare the number of syllables in that whole humdinger to the meager moniker of Batman, and tell me that such syllabic heft speaks anything less than serious business. Literally count the syllables. You've got time. Voltergeist's grimace grew even more pained. I never was that good at counting. Count them. Reginald's expression, as presumable from behind his ornate mask, presumably grew sterner. Oh, for fuck's sake. All right. Voltergeist suddenly raised his scraggly metallic hands, prompting Reginald to prime his minigun in reflex. Oh, don't worry your stupidly armored head. I'm not attacking. Just gonna use my fingers for counting. However, the very next moment, Reginald could feel it. Yes, he definitely felt it, the very much felt feeling of another urgent situation taking place, but of a nature that resonated with him on a far more personal level, such that he couldn't put it on the back burner for even a moment. Indeed, there was no mistaking the max tingling in his groin and what it flagged to him. An innocent man, approximately a kilometer away, being mocked by his fellow man for possessing a slightly smaller-sized manhood. Oh, the humanity. Possibly just some poorly judged ribbing between some fishermen. But still, the humanity. Reginald wasted not a moment in toggling between priorities, as his crotch-centric weaponry powered down for the time being. Listen, Volty. I've got to go take care of something nearby. Let me just give you a decently debilitating injury to make sure you don't scuttle off from this spot while I'm gone. No need to do that. I promise you, as someone who's 99% evil at best, and at worst, I hereby muster my 1% of decency and shall be right here after you've done your thing. You've already shown you're not a man of math. But I am a man of my word. Reginald sighed discerningly. You're lucky I'm feeling slightly less ruthless today. Still not taking any undue chances. He promptly turned toward his sidekick of sorts, a decidedly slighter figure, situated humbly off to the side. Keep an eye on him till I get back, okay? His sidekick of sorts looked at Reginald with an air of apprehension that could only be described by a hypothetical onlooker as understandable. It's another one of those situations, isn't it? Reg, I really do think it should wait until we're done here with, the supervillain. Voltergeist almost blushed. Oh, supervillain, you're much too kind. But before Reginald could even pretend to entertain his sidekick, of sorts, point of view, he deployed his shin-mounted boosters that were reserved specially for such crucial occasions as he flew a modest but appreciable height above the ground, covering distance marginally more quickly than a man constrained to bipedal methods. Reginald's sort of sidekick and Voltergeist initially looked on without saying a word, until Reginald's bellowing could be heard on the wind. One needn't possess any special hearing to discern each and every thoroughly bellowed word. Cease this immorality at once, scoundrels. You dare belittle this more compactly equipped fellow. Any last words before I place my face intimidatingly close to yours and instill you with irrevocable regret for your actions? There was a pause on the wind as the almost sidekick and Voltergeist continued to listen to the monologue from afar, while starting to grow a little awkward in each other's company. Who am I? My name is Reginald Maxgroin Turbo-Nutstorm, and I am definitely not to be taken for some wimpy Batman or some such. Tell me, whom among you is good at counting? It was then suitably obvious that this was going to take a bit longer than expected. Voltergeist, rather considerately, lessened the awkwardness by making conversation with his new friend, of sorts. So, am I right in thinking you're Reggie Boy's sidekick? Well, sidekick of sorts, one might say. Oh? What does that mean exactly? Well, I'm really more his trusty wingman when it comes to interacting with women, wherever he may encounter them. He's oddly unconfident with the ladies considering, well, everything else about him. But he makes me feel validated when he says that my assistance with the fairer sex is just as indispensable as any superpower. Huh. You mean to say that you don't possess any actual superpowers? The essentially sidekick hesitated, but before he could get out a strained attempt at covering up his verbal gaffe, Voltergeist shot him with an electrobolt sufficient to immobilize his mortal body as he proceeded to scuttle off and fulfill his unscrupulous objective. It was fair to say that our young, title-challenged fellow wasn't best pleased with either Voltergeist, Reginald, or indeed himself. Him and his big, amicable mouth. Surely enough, after an irritating amount of time had passed, Reginald finally came running back to the scene with labored breath and spluttering boosters. What the shit, wingless wingman? Where is he? And what's up with you looking like... Puff, looking like you've just taken an electrobolt straight to the sternum? I might have blabbed about not having any actual powers while trying to make conversation. Ah, piss-soaked pancakes of paradise, wingless wingman. Seriously, goddammit. Well, in fairness, we probably need to have a talk about your sense of situational urgency, wingless wingman uttered semi-boldly and quite validly. Reginald challenged back all the same. Look, you know full well that matters of the suffered manhood variety are top of my list. Wingless wingman looked mostly sympathetic. I know you've got your backstory-driven reasons, but... Reginald cut him off, sounding as though he was suppressing emotion within his voice. Did you not do the math he laid before us? 99% evil. Anyone in their right mind would naturally assume that 1% of decency is enough to stay put for just 5 minutes. You were gone for about 30 minutes. We'll be having ourselves a discussion concerning your insubordinate nature of discourse as of late. But right now, let's go and take a look at the planetary fuckery that's likely happened at the hands of that villainous rat, so we can at least get closure. Reginald lifted Wingless Wingman up and onto his shoulder, with his formidable firearm and his mostly decorative staff hoisted at his side, and proceeded to strut onward until they reached the coastline. Lo and behold, all the fish, marine life and all, were floating fucking dead. Reginald shook his head. That bastard clearly had enough electro juice left after all, even after I demeaned the shit out of him. I should have just confiscated his hands. Oh well. He tried to make light of the situation with gleaming wordplay as he let Wingless Wingman back down onto his feet, nudging his chin with a light fist. We'll make up for it next time. There's plenty more fish for us to fry, Wingless Wingman cried on the inside.